Hi, today I bring you an awesome author, an ordinary person who has an awesome story to share with the world. Hi, I'm Judy Shearwaters. Welcome to my channel. Here I bring you author interviews of ordinary people who have many times lived ordinary lives but have an extraordinary story to share with the world. I also bring you short little writing prompts to get the creative juices going in your own brain so you can write for your generations to come. Because you know what? You have a story to tell, so let me help you tell it. So I use that word awesome, probably way too much, but Janet Glauser is a newfound friend and writing buddy of mine, and I want to introduce her to you. So, with no other explanation, let me introduce you to Janet Glauser. Janet, thank you so much for coming on my channel today.
Thanks, Judy. I'm so happy to be here today.
Good. So we're just going to get right into this because we have so much to talk about today. I know you've written for a number of years, Janet. So tell us when you started writing.
Well, it's my mother's fault that I'm a writer because in the second grade, she was my teacher. And, when I would get done with my work, I'd get up and walk around, talk to my classmates, and get in a lot of trouble. So she said, when you get finished with your work, just start writing some stories. So that's what I did. And so I've kept on writing all my life, actually.
Ah, that's awesome. Okay. So what did you first start writing?
Well, I did, as I worked and I taught school and did that, I wrote a lot of poetry. And then after we sold the flower shop, I went down to the local newspaper editor and asked him if he wanted any reports or stories that I could contribute. And he said yes. And so that started me doing some freelance writing for magazines and online magazines and newspapers. And then I started writing all that nonfiction. Then I wanted to experiment with fiction. So then I did mysteries, and now I put it all together, storytelling and nonfiction writing into my memoir.
Awesome. So what made you go toward memoir?
Well, in a writer's group, a lady brought in an old journal from her great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, I don't know, long back in the 1800s. And he was a minister in London, England. And she opened that journal and read some of the things that he had written. And it was just an ordinary life, but his feelings and things that he noticed. And I remember one especially where he was walking the streets of London, window shopping, and he looked in a bookstore window and was admiring all the beautiful books. And he could not afford to buy a book because back then only the rich people could afford books. And so I thought, how to bring that history to life in that journal. I want to do that for my kids, and I want to do that for my family, to let them know that what life was like in my time. So that's really the thing that started me interested into memoir and life storytelling.
Well, I just finished reading your latest, Arranging a Dream. It was awesome.
My goodness. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about this, your latest book coming out in January, right?
Yes. Okay. It's, well, we started out with a dream. And I really didn't know as I was writing it that I was writing about a dream that we pursued, which was to have our own business, be entrepreneurs, be our own boss. Yeah, like that happens. The public is your boss. But in 1975, my husband had a hobby greenhouse in the back of our garage, attached to the back of the garage. And he loved it. He had been working on it for 3 or 4 years and helping the neighbors with their flowers and just having a good time with it. He decided he would like to try the commercial greenhouse business. So we had a bunch of magazines, horticulture magazines, and he looked up the ads. And we started around the Midwest trying to find actually a greenhouse operation. And we landed in Fremont, Michigan in July of 1975. And as we pulled in the parking lot, we had looked at a lot of places, and this seemed to be the one that hit us the most. And yes, it needed some work and everything, but he could do anything. I call him a Tedgineer because he can engineer anything. So we had no business experience. We had no flower business experience. And this greenhouse came with a flower shop. We didn't know anyone in the town because we were from Illinois. And it was a big step. It was a turning point in our life. And so we went ahead. I don't know why they sold it to us, although they promised that they would help us kind of get used to the business and, hold our hand through it. And so that's what we did. We started that business. And then the memoir covers the beginning to just that first year that we were in business, not my whole life or anything, just a slice of the life there. And, it actually has several themes that people identify with, pursuing a dream and making it come true. And being the mother of a 1-year-old daughter, I was learning about being a mother. So motherhood and family, that guilt that you have when you have to go to work and leave your kid, that was tough.
Yeah.
But, there were joys and obstacles and some fun, and I hope that's what I've been able to tell in the book.
So who would you say your audience is, Janet?
Well, I like that question because I've never really said it in black and white, but I think it's people that are looking to change their life a little bit, to go ahead and go for their dream, that you have to try it. You don't want to have regrets later in your life that you didn't try it. So I'm encouraging my audience to go for it and do what you want. And also, I think gardeners and flower people would enjoy this story too.
Right. One question I do want to ask you, how did you deal with using real names of people? That question is asked so much in memoir writing because sometimes you have to be very careful about using the real names. So how did you go about doing that?
Well, as I wrote the story, I used real names. And then I contacted people that I was going to use their names. If I couldn't get a hold of them, and there were several that didn't, and then some, of course, were dead by now because it's been over 40 years ago. But I contacted and got permission to use their names. If I did not get their permission, I changed their name. Okay. And also the people, in a good fiction story, you have to have the conflict and the bad guys. Well, the bad guys, I changed their names too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just for privacy's sake,
Yes. I received your book yesterday and I read it from the first word to the very end. I finished this morning about 8 o'clock and it was a page turner. It really was. Yeah. So many people think that ordinary people like you and I, that we don't have anything important to say. It's always the rich and the famous that have the exciting lives, or whatever, And in this book, you didn't go through a horrendous divorce. You didn't have some terrible relationship with your mom, or there was nothing dramatic, but it was just an awesome read. And I kept, and I thought at one point, it's about building a flower business, and why is this so exciting and so interesting? And I really think for a couple different reasons, you had a lot of life lessons in there, relationship building, and how important that relationship building was, like with Bernie and with Alma Lee and the Tea Times. You had a lot of messages to the reader that these are important, just living and being an impact to other people and having other people be an impact on your life. the other thing that that was so interesting and made me keep reading was your imagery. Your imagery was so good.
No,
Tell us
thank
what you
you.
think. I mean, how important is imagery to a memoir?
Yes. Well, memoirs are creative nonfiction.
Hmm.
That's what they call them because the um, creative part is like 40 years ago, you are not going to remember a conversation. So you have to create that conversation.
Right.
Sometimes you don't remember that somebody was wearing a plaid shirt or a suit. So you make some of that stuff up, and that's okay. But the nonfiction part is that it's all about the real people,
Hmm.
and that you cannot lie about. You have to tell the truth in your memoir. So creative nonfiction, somebody said it's a story well told.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
believe that because it really mixes that fictional writing with the real true writing.
Yes. And memoir needs to actually read like a novel, needs to be
Right.
interesting, needs to have its
Mhm.
highs and lows. And you did a great job at that. You really did. Um, the life lessons, another life lessons I remember is that you learned was not to compare yourself to others. Was that a hard lesson for you to learn?
Oh dear. Yes, because it's so easy to compare, to people all your life.
Yes.
You're a little kid, and you want to be part of the group in the middle school and all that. It's just born in you, and it's hard not to do that.
Right, right. And your whole story of being a young mom, a young entrepreneur, someone who's very anxious to learn the business and all, but your insecurities
Mhm.
and not thinking you're measuring up to Hattie or to someone else, um,
Yes.
it was very relational. I mean, any reader can relate to that
Oh,
because,
yes.
as we're young, we think, and as we get older, we still have those feelings of not
That's
measuring
true.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
at this age, I still have like mentors that I wish I could be like them because, I really admire them. And you'd
right.
think by this time in your life, you'd know everything, but no, it
Yeah.
doesn't work
And
that
yet,
way.
yeah. And yet those mentors probably have a few insecurities themselves.
Oh,
You know?
yeah, I
So
imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
that's awesome. Okay. So now what about your next book? What's going on with you?
Well, I wrote a long time ago biographies about some very successful women, and I wrote it for middle grade girls to do. These women have dreams. See, I don't know, I have dreams, a theme during my life, I guess, but they have dreams as little girls and they grow up and they make a success from that dream. So when I interviewed these ladies, I just hoped that this would inspire girls. So I had that as an interactive ebook for like the last 10 years and have updated it all the way through. So today I am submitting the book to be a print book and changing it. I'll also have the ebook, but have a print book because my granddaughter is 12 years old and she wanted a book.
Oh,
So, okay, I'll make you a book, Aubrey.
awesome. Awesome. So
So
do you,
that's what I've been working on. But I also, I would really like to do an online course about life storytelling.
mm,
And I have an idea for doing a spiritual biography, perhaps journal. I have been doing a couple of journals too. So, in creating a journal to go along with spiritual autobiography.
very good. Very good. Okay. So do you have a working title for your book you were talking about?
No, oh no, the one that is going to print is called Girls Succeed with an exclamation point.
Okay.
Stories behind the careers of successful women. And it's
Oh,
for middle grade age girls, but maybe older would enjoy it too.
good. Good. All right. So, what advice, my viewers are people who are kind of toying with the idea of writing memoir. I'm trying to encourage them that, yes, everyone has a story to tell. Ordinary
Yes.
people have some awesome stories to tell.
Right.
So what advice would you give to these newbies, these new writers?
Well, I find the best advice is what you also advise, is to just sit down and do it. Don't worry about perfection. Don't worry if you need a capital letter here or a period or a comma or whatever. Write the darn thing out.
So true.
And also, I think it's very important to actually make an appointment with yourself every day to write, and keep it like it's a doctor's appointment. And or picking up your kids at soccer practice, you have to keep that appointment. Now mine, when I was writing books that were kind of hard to do, I would be sure after lunch, when I was sharp, I would go and write during after lunch every day. And then pretty soon, if you have to go do some grocery shopping or get away and you're not going to be home after lunch to write, you kind of resent it, It's like you're stealing your time. So yes, get into the habit of one appointment. Maybe you actually work better at night or morning, but my after lunchtime was the best for me.
Good. I like to say, get your Bic. And a lot of people think that's this, I say, get your Bic. No, it's get your butt in the chair.
Yeah, right. That's it.
And
That's
just
it.
right. And, just whatever you see in the room at the time or whatever, just get started writing.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Don't be a perfectionist.
That's true. You can't do that at the very beginning. That's for sure. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put all your contact information in the show notes down below. And there will be a contact where, now, is there a chance to pre-order your book yet?
No, it probably will be available in, I don't know, middle of August, 1st of August. No,
Okay.
not the 1st. That's next week already. So probably the middle of August, yeah.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
not going to have it on pre-order, no.
Okay. All right. And it's called Arranging a Dream. It's a wonderful memoir. Ordinary person who lived an ordinary life and touched people in an extraordinary way. Because you didn't leave that little shop and you didn't leave those people without having touched their lives too. So, I always
Judy, I'm sorry, Judy, I have to clarify. I thought you were asking first about the book, about the girl book, and Girl Succeed. But Arranging a Dream is available right now. It's in paperback and it's in ebook format. And also hardcover.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought that was coming out in August. Okay. So
no, the Girls Succeed book will be out in August.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you for clarifying that. So that link will be down there, and please go get that. Now, will it be ebook, paperback, hardback? What do you think?
All three of those, yes.
Okay, all three of them. Okay. So usually I give out short little writing tips or writing prompts for the writers, for the people who follow my channel. Can you leave us with a writing prompt?
Oh, yes, I can. I like to think about topics like careers and job, your job, talk about all the jobs in your life, but I especially like travel. So I think the writing prompt today is to write about a trip that you took that was very special to you, and tell us why, it's so special. Make sure you include who's in it and the relationship those people are that's in the story to you. And, and of course, with the trip, it'll be fun for you to talk all about where you were and share some tips on traveling.
Good idea. Good idea. And of course, with that traveling, you can bring in all that beautiful imagery, what you saw, and what you heard, and maybe you stood out on the beach and you smelled the salt in the air, or whatever.
Right.
So, all right. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Janet. This was fun.
Thank you so much. I've just had a good time talking to you, and I appreciate your kind words about my memoir.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
recommend your book to everyone. My mom would have loved it. I know she would. So,
Yeah.
but she was a big memoir reader, so she would
Oh,
have
good.
loved this one especially, and she loved her flowers. So,
Okay, perfect.
so well, thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate it, and good luck on your future ventures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Take care.
I like having you next week on my blog. So
Yes.
remember that too. Be my guest.
Definitely. Yes, I will
Yes.
be there. All right. Thank
Great.
you so much, Janet. You take
You're
care.
welcome. And thank you.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Janet. Go down in the show notes and maybe go ahead and pick up a copy of her Arranging a Dream. I guarantee you it's a great read. Also, while you're in the show notes, connect with her on her website. She brings a lot of tips and tricks for memoir writers, for beginning memoir writers too. So take a look at how to contact her and get signed up on her blog too, so that you can receive those little tips and tricks that she sends out from time to time. If you enjoy receiving author interviews like this or writing prompts, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell there so that you are notified every time I bring out another video like this. So, until next time, I'm Judy Shearwaters. You have a story to tell. Let me help you tell it.